everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Inforunners. And today, I have a special announcement. Our former guest, and now newly minted Inforunner, Osiris, is going to be introduced on this episode.
How's it going?
Good.
Thank you. Today's episode, we're going to talk about, well, the title says it all. What is the Kraken? What role does it fill? Does it replace the Idris, as a lot of people think? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I guess we should talk about the role. What is the role of the ship, and where do we think it sits? And for me, it's a support craft first and foremost. It's a capital ship, but its real strength for me is actually the fighters it brings to bear in combat. I guess the ship itself, though, is a little weaker, obviously. But I think over time we're going to find more and more roles for this ship. But what's your thoughts, Dasein?
Well, this is the ship I've been waiting for. It really has, because this is a true and proper carrier that can be used not just for military operations, but for actual civilian operations. This is what pretty much any org needs, because it allows you to run mining operations to combat operations to just having a spot to, let's say you're going to explore a planet, you just haul all of your org members in it, hop on some of your ships, and let's say you want to do a race, pop some bikes in there, maybe a couple vehicles, there you go. It's perfect.
Seems a bit excessive for a race. For a race taker, yeah, we'll just take a Kraken.
Well, you know,
but I get what you
won't be
mean.
racing anybody in
everyone
the Kraken.
together in the same spot at the same time.
Yeah, but I could see if you have a really big race mate, you could put them all on top. Yeah, I guess, and transport them there. I could see that. But for me, I kind of think, as I said just before, I think this is we're not going to know where this ship sits until it's kind of in game. I think there's a lot of versatility in this ship, but at the same time, one of the things that really worried me from the Q&A, and I hope this is a mistake, is they said it can only use industrial or civilian components. It can't use military, and I found that really bizarre.
That doesn't make sense. You're supposed to be able to put any category of component in if it'll fit, right? That was how the component system was sold to us.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that was just a typographical error.
Yeah, so what they mean is it comes with civilian and industrial components, and you can still use the others. Because if they somehow just block that you carry that and go, what does that mean? It's going to happen on all the other ships as well? Like, is there certain ships that can't have military grade or racing components? And
I just think it's an issue with their marketing explanation, because there's no way that they're going to do that, because that ruins even their entire idea of you start off with the base level components on the ship. You can upgrade it to do all sorts of different things depending on what you put in it. And if you take away that modularity, that's just chipping away at modularity even more and more, which is actually one of the stretch goals.
The CIG has kind of done a lot of hedging on modularity since the beginning, and another thing that they mentioned in the Q&A was the modularity of those rear bays, and I'm a little bit hesitant to take them at their word after they've made some statements in the past about the modularity of other ships and now their unique hull variants.
And then we're still out in the cold on some other modules, and taking another Drake ship, the Caterpillar. Like, I know a lot of people that hold on their Caterpillar in hope that they're going to do some stuff. And when you kind of look at this ship actually kind of treads a little bit on the Caterpillar, because that was initially going to be that home base away from home. And I think it now looks like it's just been relegated to cargo ship, like overnight type of thing. So, yeah, it's interesting.
Well, the thing I can see with the Kraken is it would actually make sense for them to keep the modularity in line with the Javelin's modular compartments, because the Javelin is supposed to have all these modular compartments that you can use. I think that this would actually be a perfect test bed for that. Have something a little bit smaller to maybe try to work with, some ideas, toss it around. That's just a thought. But compared to the Idris, because you asked us that, Osiris, I actually think the Idris and the Kraken fill two completely different roles. Simple enough. And execute, you had a really good example of this.
You'll have to fill me in. You go ahead, because I don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Well, when we were talking, execute was pointing out that the Idris is a much more go-at-it combat vessel that gets in your face. It's there. It has the rail guns. It has torpedoes. It has really good turrets as well. But it can also carry fighters as support. But the Kraken, on the other hand, is going to be still on the just edge of the battlefield because of its design is actually a better aircraft carrier for refueling and rearming. Just due to the fact that you can have one ship fly in at a time into the Idris and maybe a few more, but you have to have that nice line. But if you finish the middle one, you have to wait for the one ahead to go. This one, you can just fit it, rearm, go, shoot, go.
Depending on how big the combat is, like I remember what I was saying now, you could actually have, maybe 4 Idrises and one of these go in, and as the Idrises might go to the back line of the battle and they'd kind of like shoot in with their rail guns, almost like fire support, and then this one would be behind the Kraken would be behind them, but all their ships from the Idrises would and the Kraken itself would return to rearm and refuel and go back into the battle, just like a mobile landing pad, just constantly bringing all those guns to bear, getting more missiles, and just constantly coming in and out and just kill them with just superior missile numbers and all that type of stuff. I can see that happening because there is no other large rearming, refueling mechanism that and with the Idris, the thing that you pointed out when we're talking about this is you can only put 3 ships in at once, and they have to kind of go in and out in order. You can't kind of maybe you could fly over the top of the one in front of you, but it would be a little difficult.
That'd be dangerous as all get out if you could.
Yeah. So having individual landing pads is going to be a little bit better. So I do see a place for it in combat. I don't think it's strength, but I do see a place for it in the battlefield still.
Will disagree with that. I think it is its strongest suit because this is also the ship that you can have. Let's say you're attacking Port Olisar, for an example. You could have this all the way Daymar. And then you launch. You can fit retaliators off of this thing to refuel, rearm fighters. You could actually have things quantuming from it, launching their payloads, coming back. And let's say you have your main fleet there. You just have this nice little cycle going, and it's just your carrier fleet. It's just like in World War II, where you have your carriers far out there deploying things out. And there's nothing right now besides this that I can see that can actually fit a retaliator. If it sits, it fits.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing about the Idris is we've seen from the Squadron 42 trailer, we know that you can fit some Gladiuses in there, but what is the biggest ship that'll fit inside of an Idris? I don't know that.
I think it's the Eclipse.
You can fit some pretty big things on top of a Kraken, though.
They did design the Eclipse to fit in the Idris, so I think that's the biggest ship, and then mainly because of the folding wings. I was going to say too, and I've totally forgot what I was going to say. So I'll just move on. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to probably suggest what you were going to say is you're talking about if it sits, it fits earlier.
Well, that's what I was going to move on to because I forgot what I was going to talk about. So we'll talk about if it fits, it sits. 2 of the things that we've actually found out is the Caterpillar will actually be able to land on the deck because if it fits, it sits, which is what was said at CitizenCon, I believe. And I found out through one of the guys on our Discord that one of his org mates actually measured the hammerhead and it fits by 1 meter. So you can apparently land a hammerhead on the deck of this thing, which is just going to be bizarre.
I wouldn't want to see that thing coming at me, a Kraken with a hammerhead on the deck.
Yeah. Oh, it's just there. The other way. It's just there for defensive purposes to give it more turrets.
Just leave it there.
Yeah. So yeah, that could be an interesting combo, but I think it would be it might be a good thing to what I was envisioning is the Caterpillar coming out with resupply for the Kraken, so it doesn't actually have to ever go back to base or anything. And I've remembered what I was going to say now. My strength of this ship is that if you can land it on a planet, it is a mobile base. That is the strength of this ship, not its combat role. It's all the other times where it can just land on a planet, or it's that home away from home type of thing, and you can just pick it up and move it whenever you need to. So it's a portable pirate base, which is what Drake is. And if you think of it like that, excuse me, it becomes very strong. And you can have any ship technically dock with it as long as it can land. So you can have another Idris land next to it or whatever. And I think that is its big strength to me, is that mobile base that you can just take anywhere. The combat, I can see its place in combat, but it's not its strength. Its strength is that home and away for home.
And that versatility is exactly the reason that I ended up releasing my wallet to release the Kraken earlier today.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of outside of combat applications of this thing. Like you said, the mobile base, you can load it up with small and medium industry ships, and you have the whole offloading their cargo into the Kraken's cargo bay. You have the repair, refuel, rearm of them. You can just really do any type of gameplay in Star Citizen and use the Kraken as your hub of operations.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, the thing is, this is perfect for any large-scale operation or even an exploration operation. Because imagine having this go out there with a Carrack and maybe a Starfarer. You could go on long-term missions with just the ship along with those other ships.
I think
it gives you that versatility.
I think it gives a lot of short-range ships long-range capability is what this ship brings. I think the other interesting thing, just going back to combat for a second, is you look at an Idris, it brings 3 ships to bear, as we said, and you kind of have to go in one after the other. This ship could technically bring 8 because you've got 4 small on the landing pads, 2 mediums, and then you could get 2 more mediums in the hangar bays. And if it allows you to do that, that is a lot of ships to bring to a fight. And I'd even start to question a fully laden Kraken versus a fully laden Idris. I actually would start to wonder what could happen there. You know, like as long as they're not right up in each other's face. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think like it comes down to fighters there at the end of the day, which I think is a really weird thing.
I think you're exactly right. It's not the Kraken by itself won't go toe to toe successfully against the Idris. It's about the other ships that it can bring to the fight, and that I think is probably. I know there's a lot of time to go, and there's a lot of things that could change, but I would say that the Kraken probably has an edge over the Idris just for that reason.
Yeah, because you've obviously got to add all those ships as a cost factor to the price, but at their base rate at the moment, they've both been priced the same at the moment at $1,400 US. So, but if you add that extra thing, those extra, like as an example, imagine if you had 8 Eclipses going against the Idris, and even if the Idris only had 3, or it had the best fighters to take out those Eclipses, I don't know what that outcome would be, but it would be bloody close. Like,
yeah, you're not gonna stop all those torpedoes.
And as Dasein said, maybe lose 2 of those Eclipses, and one of them's a Retaliator. You know, that's a lot of torpedoes to chuck at a ship, and they've got to stop that. You know, and if they've only got 3 fighters, you know, like and that is a one-on-one situation, so that could be totally different too. You know.
Well, the thing is, this is supposed to be kind of World War II in space. If you want World War II in space, what is the iconic Navy ship that of that war? It was the last war for battleships, but that was also the death knell of battleships due to carriers.
Yep.
And this is what a proper carrier is, and it really kind of brings about that change when you think about it.
Mm. It definitely does have that World War II inspired in space aspect in spades with this one. And you look at it, it really, what's that? There's a Japanese anime. I think it's called Battleship Yamato or something like that. And
Yamato, yes.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's straight out of that. I was like, oh, okay, they've just cloned it. So yeah.
I do want to say this though. I have an issue with how it was sold. F5, 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 F5 at the end. Like, seriously.
I actually
limited sale.
I actually think it was really well sold personally. I like how they did waves. I like how they asked people how they were going to use it. And I think it kind of removed a lot of the black marketeer people. I don't think we're going to see a lot of sell on. I'm actually curious to like what concierge is going to do if someone wants to give their ship to somebody else, stuff like that. I think it makes it a little bit more legitimate, and I think they know they're getting to the point now where their ships are so popular they're going to have to start restraining numbers as well. And that was one of the big. They keep talking about game balance, but I haven't seen any of it come into play yet. This is the first time I've actually seen them like reel in the reins a bit. So I hope. Go ahead.
I was just personally speaking, I don't see this as a balance issue. If they should sell as many as people want. Like, at least even if you just limit it to one per person, because keep in mind, not everyone's going to fly it. Everyone wants to be the captain, but not everyone wants to be the crew member, and there's going to be an issue because of that. That balances itself out.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm curious to know how many ships were melted to get this, and like for example, I don't want to dub you into Osiris, but you did use store credit, did you? How many ships did you?
Yeah, I had to vaporize my entrepreneur pack.
What's in the entrepreneur? I can't even pronounce that word. What was in that pack?
It's all the entry level industry ships: the Prospector, the Vulcan, the Vulture. I think a Hull B.
That's a good choice because they're all,
or something.
in my opinion, they're all bad.
Yeah,
so that's a good choice in my opinion. But each to their own. And I know Dasein, you were talking about wanting to get one, but because of how you got your Hammerhead, he got it. There's no CCU for it, and Dasein got his Hammerhead through a series of CCUs, so he would actually lose a lot of value if he melted his Hammerhead. So that's another way I think they've restricted it. And
I couldn't afford it otherwise.
It shows that they've thought through I think they're finally starting to catch up to where we were 4 years ago with CCUs and saving money through using things like the Banu Merchantman and stuff like that. So they've finally got their head on straight, and they're restricting stuff, so it's making it so they can get new money. Is there anything else you guys want to add? I think we've kind of gone through it all. I'll take the silence as a yes. All right, so you go ahead.
If you like it, give us a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. We do read your comments. Keep in mind, we don't always have time to respond to all of them, but we do read them.
Right. Anything else you want to add, Osiris?
No, I think we touched on all of the major points.
Cool. All right. So this has been Osiris. This has been Dasein, and I've been Execute, and we'll catch you next time. Catch you later.
See ya.